Thank you so much for joining us. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. It really is. At least for the last while, we've now seen the mid-season finale of The Walking Dead.
A newly coined phrase.
Yeah, they made that up, do you think?
I don't know. I haven't heard it much before this show, and AMC completely going overboard in announcing this. The mid-season finale.
It did seem to come up a lot in the ads and everything else they did before broadcast and then even sort of after it broadcast during Hell on Wheels and stuff like that. Right. They repeated that over and over again. But, well, we've seen it now. We got a long wait until February. Was it 12th? When it comes back. Sundays at 9, same time slot. I was wondering. I wonder if Hell on Wheels will be done by then. So they'll repeat it at 10 o'clock again instead of 11 when it comes back in February.
It's an interesting idea.
I hope so.
How many Hell on Wheels are we now 4?
Something like that.
No,
no, I don't know if I will, but that's a different thing. I'm just figuring by then it'll probably be done because they're not going to take a big break.
They're not ready to
Well, maybe they're only doing 6 and they'll be done in a couple of weeks. I'm not really sure.
I'll check out a Hell on Wheels podcast. So they can let us know.
Yeah, we should do that. Maybe I can't see them taking a break in the new show though because people are going to drop off and never come back. Yeah, that's happened in the shows. Not on The Walking Dead though, as told by the ratings that we've seen. So let's talk about those right now. The Walking Dead news. So we got a quick news segment here. As I said, the ratings for Secrets last week's episode came in, and there were 6.077 million viewers, 3.1 rating, 1849. Now that's down a tenth of a point, and a drop of about 400,000 viewers from the week before.
Well, Christmas is picking up. It's hard to carve out time when you got to do stuff like Christmas lights and go shopping for stocking stuffers.
It's true, and people in the US were gearing up for Thanksgiving last week.
Right? Yeah.
So
they're gearing down. They're gearing up because we're talking about this.
Yeah, that's right. Gearing up now. They're gearing down. But I mean, as we say every week, ratings are holding steady. They're holding steady. They're not fluctuating wildly like some shows.
They'll go from 5.3 million to 4 viewers. That would be a bad downslide.
A little bit,
and then the next week we go to 3 viewers. Well, you lost that guy. What happened?
But then back up to 6.3 million. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Very inexplicable.
Very weird. Talking Dead, the AMC show, didn't have ratings for last week, or they didn't make it onto the top 20, which is what TVByNumbers.com posts, and that's stuff you can get. Which means they were below 1.2 million or 8.4 score.
Right. So maybe it's the same guys that were responsible for the audio and had the audio problems a couple weeks ago. Right. They've been fired and are put in charge of tracking ratings.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. You guys are out here doing some
Yeah,
ratings.
ratings, and then they got the ball down too.
Yeah.
What's next? Craft services?
Yeah, well, then they're just food.
Make me juice.
Then they're just going to shut down because actors people won't have their food.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Putting up signs on trailers. That's a good job.
There you go. Andrew Lincoln, but they'll spell it wrong. That's right. Okay, so that's it. No ratings for Talking Dead. Ratings for The Walking Dead are holding steady, and that's good news. It'll be interesting next week to find out what the ratings are for the mid-season finale, which we've already seen. Should be out, I imagine. But we'll see. Quickly, one more thing in news before we get into our recap. I don't want to take too much time on this, but last week on the show there was the whole morning after pill controversy, or at least on the show there was the fact that Lori took some morning after pills, hoping to terminate her pregnancy. She of course keep them back up right away, so no harm done there. Although the internet and kind of the world in general went a little crazy because there is a big difference between the morning after pill and the, for lack of a better term, abortion pill. Right. Morning after pills are emergency contraception, where the latter is a medicated abortion, I guess. Right. I don't know too much about that, I must admit. And people generally felt it was irresponsible of the show to mix these two up and send a sort of confusing message to the world.
Right. Now are the abortion pills already counted?
I get it.
Because these were emergency contraceptives were in the feminine hygiene section, right? So that meant they were over-the-counter drugs.
I suppose. I guess so. Yeah.
Neither of these strike me as over-the-counter type medications, but I'm Canadian. I could be wrong.
Yeah, here in Canada, I'm quite sure that emergency contraceptive is still only prescription. I don't know about that though. Like if you have to go to your doctor, get a prescription, go get filled, pick up the pills, bring home. I mean, that seems like it takes time. And if you need them right away, you might not have that time. Although from what I understand, you can take them anywhere from 1 to 5 days after, right. And they'll still likely be effective.
That's because we talk about this from the way around. They hang out, they have brunch the next day, talk about it. They plan their plan of attack.
Yes, their plan of attack.
They draw straws for the super firm that's actually going to go.
Yep. When we discussed that in a past podcast, somebody wrote in whose name I can't remember right now. I know the story, but she informed us that it's about 5 days for him to live inside the body. So
just hang out at a party.
Who knows what they're doing there? Wait for something to happen, I guess.
I'm just luxuriating in the additional room. A lot of space in here.
Nice.
Hang out.
Anyways, with this morning after pill controversy, Planned Parenthood and even the American Civil Liberties Union both had something to say about it and how irresponsible the show was. So a few days after that, Glenn Lazar, a showrunner, came out and he made a statement, and here's what he said. The producers and writers of The Walking Dead are fully aware that the morning after pill would not induce an abortion or miscarriage. We exercise our artistic creative license to explore a storyline with one of our characters, not to make any pro-life or pro-choice political statement. We sincerely hope that people are not turning to the fictional world of The Walking Dead for accurate medical information.
Oh, that would be a bad idea in general.
It really would be, considering there are Walking Dead. Now,
that's in my mind that firmly puts The Walking Dead in the realm of fantasy.
Absolutely.
Not reality anyway. Seriously, hold on. But yes, it's firmly in fantasy realm.
Well, no argument there. It's definitely fantasy. And he's absolutely right by saying, you know what, don't come to us if you get pregnant and don't know what to do about it. We're not the right source for the answer.
That's right.
That said, that statement comes off to me a little bit flippant, a little bit like, shut up, people, it's just a TV show.
He could have said, yeah, we got it wrong. Yeah, we didn't hire any consultants on family planning, and we screwed it up. Sorry about that. And besides, don't come to us for family planning advice.
Yeah, I think he'd take a little bit more responsibility for the error than it would have felt a little genuine, but whatever, he's right. Don't take the show, for that kind of thing. It's a show that's obviously for Anyhow, that was the morning after pill controversy. I think we can put it in the past now, and no one will worry about it from here on. We'll see. Unless there are more pregnancies and they continue to make silly mistakes.
There could be.
I don't know.
At least 2 possible more pregnancies.
There's been a surprising amount of sex on this show. Okay, we're using listener feedback later in the show, but right now we're going to get into our recap.
Pretty much dead already.
The read on that was a little happier than some of the other ones, which doesn't really sort of go in tune with the mood of this episode. But hey, pretty much dead already. Why not? So this is mid-season finale. We open. It's dawn. People are hanging around the camp. They're cooking. They're eating, doing stuff. And I noticed there's lots of uncomfortable glancing amongst everyone.
Yeah, looking around.
That's right. We have shifty eyes going one way and then going another way.
Conversations with words.
And Maggie's way off in the farm, but they're glancing the campy. Looks over at her and
everybody's just being a little bit creepy.
Like glancing. And then we get more Dale. Or Dale breaks the pattern by nodding at Glenn. And Glenn stands up and tells everyone the barn is full of waters.
Excuse me.
Yeah, he doesn't hold back. He's like, hey guys, barn's full of waters. Yeah. And everyone looks happy.
Why would that make him happy? Hey, that's very good, Glenn.
At least they're not here amongst us. They're secure in there.
I'll look on the right side. That's good.
See, good. So we got everybody now at the barn arguing about what to do. Shane, of course, wants to take the road and leave. Everybody else wants to continue looking for Sophia, and everybody else kind of Rick. Because I guess he still feels guilty about that. Rick decides he needs to talk to Herschel about this, and he thinks he can handle it. And at that point, they're making so much noise that the barn door starts bulging because the zombies have woken up. Camera zooms in on Rick and go to credits. So pretty good pre-credits opening there, I think. You know what's gonna happen? Maybe the barn doors will bust open. Maybe, who knows? When we come back, Shane is hanging around the barn scoping out. He checks the locks by pulling on them. Then the zombies shake the doors again. He reaches for his gun, but he notices he doesn't have it.
Oh, shucks, it's in the trailer for the camper.
That's right. What's he gonna do? We go to Glenn, who's trying to apologize to Maggie, and she comically takes his head, puts an egg in it, and cracks it on his head. Yep, funny stuff. And he breaks her for why wasting an egg. Good point. That's the worst thing. You just waste the whole egg.
They need those. You could kick me. That's the same. Give me the shin. Slap me across the face. All kinds of stuff.
Not as good for the comic relief value though. No. You know what? You need a little bit of that in this episode, I think. But we go to Carl and Lori, who are doing homework. A little bit weird that he's still doing homework in the zombie
I think
apocalypse.
it's responsible Lori to homeschool at this point.
I suppose so. I guess he needs to learn his arithmetic and spelling and reading all that. He's 10. He's not reading.
He should learn how to not get shot.
There's that too. That's very important. They're doing homework and talk about whether Sophia is dead. And Carl says he's not leaving until he finds Sophia. He doesn't want to go. His friend after all. They're a team though. So they are. Now we go to Daryl, who's in the stable, getting ready to take a horse out. And Carol comes in and tells him not to go because she doesn't want to lose him too. And he gets pissed and he walks away and calls her a bitch. Wasn't very nice of him, I'll tell you.
Well, I mean, it's a natural Daryl reaction to frustration, right?
Yeah,
about somebody else.
Yeah, I think he was thinking that Carol doesn't really appreciate all his looking because she now wants him to sort of stay here, right? And all he's been through, right? But he's kind of the only one who's been able to all.
Yeah, everybody else seems to be. They said they found the doll 2 days ago. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah, really. There's a trail follower here.
Yeah, go looking. Keep looking. Don't just stop. Oh, find the doll. We'll find her.
Yeah, I'm sure she's around somewhere. We go to Dale and Glenn, who are at the RV. Dale gives Glenn his hat and goes inside. In there, he finds Andrea arming up to go look for Sophia. She's gathering some weapons. Dale suspects that Andrea and Shane have a thing going, and he's concerned that she's getting too close to him. And she doesn't know what kind of man he is. Fair enough. Tell her. Well, yeah. Tell her. You know what? That is one thing about the show that I like. Characters tend to put things out in the open. Secrets are kept for a long time. Not so far, unlike some other shows. So then Andrea leaves, and Dale asks Glenn to go get him some water. so he can sneak away with a bag of guns. Dale can sense something's about to go down.
And he knows that Glenn can't keep secrets.
That's true.
He just showed up and said, where did Dale go? We went that way with that gun.
That's right. Okay, thank you. Thanks. I don't know what you're doing. Glenn is Dale's the knower of things.
He sure knows everything.
Like I said, he's the eyes and ears of this institution. But
he's also the figure outer. Like he knows what's going to happen. He knows what potentially could happen and the way to counter that. He does.
It's true. The figure outer, right? Yeah. The one who can figure stuff out. That's right. He's always one of those guys. But so we go inside. Herschel, Rick comes in to talk to him, and Rick tells him that they can be stronger if they stay and work together. He lets them know that they know about the barn, that Lori is pregnant, and Herschel doesn't change his mind about them leaving.
First time I saw Walker, it was just half a body snapping at me from the ground. My inclination wasn't to kill it. But the world is out there as much as you saw it. It is much, much worse, and it changes you. Either in one of them or something a lot less than the person you were. Please do not send us out there again.
So Maggie overhears them talking, and cut away. Now we're back to Shane guarding the barn. Rick walks up and tells him he's been negotiating with Herschel about what they're going to do. They argue about making the place safe, and then Rick tells Shane that Lori is pregnant.
We have to stay here. We can't leave. She's pregnant for crying out loud.
Exactly. If we go out there, there's no way that we can have this baby successfully. Shane congratulates him as Rick's walking away, and now there's a little bit of controversy over what Rick said as he turned around. A lot of people think, or me,
a lot of me.
No, wait a minute. I'm pretty sure Rick said thank you, as in, congratulations on having a baby. He said, I thank you or thank you. Some people think he said, to you too, as in he's like, yeah, exactly.
I gotta thank you.
Me too. Me too. But some people think Rick said, congrats to you too, kind of thing. Which, there's a lot more to happen when this comes out, and I don't know if you just drop it like that as you walk away, maybe. Right. And
they both know. Well, there's a possibility that it's changed.
Of course, and eventually it will, come to the forefront. They'll have to discuss it, possibly with their fists,
right, or worse.
But right now, I think Rick just said thanks and is moving on because he's got bigger fish to fry at this point. I agree. So we go to commercial, and when we come back, Herschel and Maggie are talking. She tells him to reconsider making them leave, and she calls them walkers again. She's kind of team walker, which is good. And she tells him how Glenn saved her life from one in the pharmacy, and that's kind of I think the moment where she had a change of heart. At that point, Jimmy runs in and tells Herschel it happened again, and we don't know exactly what it means.
I wasn't quite sure exactly what that meant. I thought maybe it meant that they're with the horse.
Yeah.
Or that there's guns in camp, or doing all kinds of things. I didn't know what that meant.
We find out quickly outside Rick and Andrew are planning their Sophia search. Herschel comes out and asks Rick for help with something. Andrew offers to go. Herschel says, no, just need Rick. I'm fine, just he's coming for a minute. We come over to Lori playing carrots, and Shane comes over. They have a deep conversation here, an intense conversation. They talk about the relationship and how Shane thinks Rick isn't right for this world, which is important to remember. Shane thinks he's a better man because he saved her life so many times, and then they talk about the baby.
Rick told you what? I know the reason why you didn't. It's because it's mine. It's okay. I carried on quite a bit before we got back. It's mine. It's wrong. I'm sorry, Shane. I'm sorry. Even if it's not going to be yours, it's never going to be yours, and there's nothing you can change that. I don't need to.
Intense. Doesn't matter who it is. It's not going to be yours, Shane.
Now I have a question about the carrots.
Sure.
Are they? Now it's been a long time since I've actually pulled carrot out of the ground, but these carrots didn't look exactly carrot orange to me. They look kind of faded.
We still have sort of dirt on them and stuff. Carrots don't come out nice and
I know they come out orange and dirty, right? These look kind of not carrot colored. I'm just wondering if that was normal. Because I always buy my carrots at the grocery store, and they're carrot orange. But I know when I buy my beef at the grocery store, they put food coloring in that to make it red.
Really?
Well, yeah, it's brown normally.
Huh.
Yeah, that's all food coloring.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering if they colored carrots at the grocery store as well, to make them look carrot orange.
As much as I like to think that carrot orange is an actual color, right? I guess why not banana yellow, carrot orange. I don't think they colored them.
I'm just curious. These carrots are not carrot orange. So if anybody knows if these were sticky carrots or the normal carrots, and I just have a skewed vision of what normal carrots look like.
I think that might be it. I think these are just readily ground. They're still dirty. Maybe if you wash them up, clean them up a little bit, they'd be more orange.
Or maybe they colored the carrots sickly on purpose because the world is going to craft and carrots are not going to be perfect in a zombie world.
You can't ask for perfection in vegetables after zombies attack. That's right. It's really low on your list probably things.
I think
So Shane walking away, he passes Carl. Carl tells him he won't be able to find Sophia, and he says to Shane that the way Shane feels is bullshit. That was awesome. Yeah, I love that scene when he swore like that. It was great. Shane then tells him if you want to leave until we find it, then that's what we have to do. So
you have to be prepared to do the chores necessary to stay.
Yeah, that's right. Lori sees him talking, and since she's not so happy with Shane right now, she calls Carl over to her, so get away. Shane goes to the RV looking for guns. He doesn't find them. Now talking to Glenn, figures that Dale took them died. At this point, Shane's a bit of I know everything. So he seems to know what's going on. We go Herschel, Jimmy, and Rick are in the woods with two walkers. We're stuck in the river. Yeah, and this scene solidified something I've been wondering about a little bit. Why there hadn't been more zombie activity around the farm. And I think at some point in another episode there had been a quick comment about a lot of the surrounding area being swampland.
Yeah.
And so zombies come in and get stuck in the swamp. And if they don't clean them out, they just are stuck there, or they clean them out and put them in the barn. And it helps protect the place. Which is good.
Swamp full of zombies stuck.
Frozen in winter. That's what you do. Maybe they might not freeze in winter down there. But here for sure, you don't kill them when they're frozen. So they've got two walkers who are stuck in the river. Now they have those animal catching poles. Do they name?
No.
It's a hole where you can stay away from the animal.
Yeah, for dog handling or animal handling.
Yeah.
These are for I guess they use a version of them for snakes. These are for alligators and
anything you want to get close to.
Yeah, or don't want to get away.
Well,
stay exactly that distance, no farther, no closer.
They use them to wrangle the zombies, which I think is an interesting idea. The thing that struck me here though is using these poles may work sometimes, but it also feels like a really bad idea. If that zombie's neck is suitably decomposed, that thing's just gonna slice right through and take its head off.
Yeah, and problem solved.
Problem solved, except not from Herschel's perspective. You don't want to kill these people.
No, but they're also not dealing with zombies that are completely decomposed as well, right? Like they're pretty from at this point, the zombies they've been encountering have been pretty fresh.
I guess so, but there's still been some pretty decomposing ones.
Well, one in the wild teabag zombie, he was pretty decomposed.
Yeah, you put this thing around him, like you just be slicing right into his flesh. Now the spinal cord presumably is still pretty hard, so you might not get through that. Maybe, but still gross. And Herschel really believes they can resurrect these people or cure them. Having everything with your spinal column around your neck sliced, not gonna be good.
We're gonna use zip cuffs and a paper bag.
Well, I'm not saying there's a better idea is to not try to corral them at all.
Oh, but you need to corral them. How do you do it?
I suppose it's a good tool to use. That's
a question. How do you corral a decomposing zombie that you don't want to actually dispatch?
Sheepdog. That's what sheepdog do.
Maybe sheepdog zombie in a few minutes.
It's a zombie sheepdog, yeah, probably. Anyway, Herschel insists that if people are going to stay, they have to treat the walkers as people and do some of the work. So it sounds like Herschel's having a bit of a change of heart here. Yep. He's thought about the fact that Lori's pregnant and everything's going on, and how his daughter probably helped convince him. He's coming around. But we go to Herschel and we come back. We have Daryl and Carol walking along the river. She shows her a Cherokee rose and apologizes about calling her a bitch. Isn't it? It was a nice little scene with them. I guess it sort of solidified their relationship a little bit, but then I didn't see the point to it.
No, it was important for their relationship that he apologized. That was a very mean thing that he did, and it was very much like her husband. I'm sure he called her a bitch all the time.
Yeah, maybe, probably. But I don't know, it felt out of place in this episode. I don't think they needed it right here for some reason. So I don't know, it was a bit weird. But anyways, we get through that. We go back to Herschel, Rick, and Jimmy have the zombies in the zombie wrangling sticks, snares, I called them. Herschel says Otis used to do this. Now they have to.
Otis was the man.
He was the man. He was doing all the zombie wrangling. He was
doing important stuff. Trained in firearms.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. He was dead.
Yep.
So we go back to Glenn up on the RV who's keeping watch, and now he walks by. Glenn comes down to talk to her.
I forgot that they're dangerous. I don't care if they're sick people or dead people. They're dangerous. And I realized something else. That I don't want you in danger ever. So I hate the believe big secret, but I'm sick of secrets. Secrets get you killed. And I'd rather have you pissed off at me alive than liking me dead. So that's why I go. Hey, Walker, don't call me that.
I let that be at the end because that was funny.
Before we talk about what he said, when she walked by and Glenn sees her, for a person that's being on watch, she got really close before he noticed her.
Yeah, and then he just climbed right down and ran off.
I don't need to watch anymore. But yeah, I'm just a little bit concerned that he was lollygagging up there and gathering wool, and not off for a while because she was within like 50 feet of that before he noticed her. And if he was actually watching out for her and wanted to talk to her, he would have saw her way off in the distance.
There's a lot of open field around that farm, but for the viewer, it might be a little bit boring. But slowly watch her approach. Slowly watch her approach. Maybe he was confused because he was excited about where Dale had.
Well, yeah, maybe he got sunstroke or whatnot. Yeah. Or maybe he did notice her, but pretended he didn't, so she wouldn't change directions.
Right. I'm not looking. I don't see you.
You're outside my peripheral vision. I can't see you.
So yeah, she calls him Walker Bait. He gets upset, and then they kiss and make up.
That was a very nice thing that he said. Why would I rather see have you alive and pissed off and like me in bed?
Now, how did you feel about the portal reference in this scene?
First of all, first it got me excited because I thought it gives a timeline, but then I realized that
time frame.
frame, yeah, like for at least after Portal. But my initial thought was Portal 2 just came out, so this just happened. And I realized he didn't say Portal 2, he said Portal. It came out a couple years ago, so that blew my
More than that even, but just the fact that they made such a blatant pop culture reference, didn't you understand a little bit? I don't know why.
I Portal,
I love Portal 2, but I don't know why. It just felt wrong to me to throw that in there like that. And then you stop and say, oh, it's a video game,
yeah, she's a farmer's daughter. She might know from Portal.
The thing is, I guess if they, if they have cars and they're so prominent and they've got hatchets and they're so prominent, why not throw a video game reference in there?
You think it was product placement?
I don't know. Can that be a product placement? Just mention a product?
Sure, I guess so. I drink Snapple. Snapple's great. That's product placement.
Right. Usually you hold them up when you do that. When you see it for the thing, maybe there's an Xbox in the farm.
Maybe.
That's all
Then she would know what Portal was.
That's true. Good point. I don't know. For me, it just felt like it was ham-fisted in there. Like, oh, we gotta mention something. So
yeah, he could have said video games. It felt like a video game.
Yeah, exactly. But you weren't about it.
No, I think Portal's fine. It didn't stick out at me. It didn't annoy me anything. I just thought it was pop culture reference. All right. Well, if I was his age, even if I was my age, and I am my age, I make pop culture references all the time in everyday life.
Sure. But this isn't everyday life. It's a TV show and it's a zombie TV show. So,
but if I was stuck in a zombie apocalypse and it's been a number of months since I actually played a video game, I would miss them.
You probably would.
I would probably talk about them.
Okay. Well, I guess looking at it that way, it makes sense. But for me, I don't know. It felt like it just stood out like a sore thumb. Like, hey guys, I'm going to mention something, pop culture relevant right now. Why do you need to say, I was watching Jersey Shore last week and then the zombies attacked. Have you watched Jersey Shore? No, not even a little bit. All right. But after that, we go to Dale. He's in the forest, we're in the swamp hiding the guns. Shane approaches and confronts him. I guess Shane knows exactly where he was. He just seemed to go right there.
He must have gone to the swamp.
Yeah. There's only one place he could be. Dale raises his gun on him, but relents, and Shane ultimately takes the guns.
This is where you belong, Shane. How's that, Dale? This world, where it is now. This is where you belong. I may not have what it takes to last so long. That's okay. At least I can say, oh, world. Oh, shit. I didn't let it take me down with it. Fair enough.
Fair enough. Yep. I love this scene too. It was so well done. And I love two things. One, we got Dale telling Shane what he thought of him. You're an ass, basically. That's all he was saying. You're perfect for the end of the world here. And we also got Shane being a dick by completely disregarding anything that Dale had to say and does not take him seriously. I pulled the trigger. Well, it was, you almost wanted to, You almost like, this guy's such an ass.
I almost half expected Carl to show up.
Oh yeah, that would have been something. Yeah. The only problem is in this scenario, Carl would have shown up for a long time and shot Dale through the neck. Because Dale was the one pointing the gun at Shane.
I don't know. Yeah, I kind of expected that whole thing to happen, but then I remembered that Shane's going to be moving on to the next part of the season. So, and then I figured out what was going to happen.
What if they introduce a scene where Carl tries to shoot Shane but misses? Can you imagine the different dynamic that would throw in?
Oh yeah.
Like, holy crap.
That would really be holy crap.
That would be something that's disturbing right now.
Great idea.
Hey guys, I got an idea. But yeah, this whole scene I thought was fantastic. It was these two guys sort of laying it on the table with each other, and Dale ultimately just gives up and says, look, I don't like you, and I think you're wrong, and I think you're an idiot, and do what you need to do.
From each of their own individual perspectives, they're both right. Like Shane is trying to do what he thinks is right for the group, which we're out here to survive. This is not the same world we've been in our whole lives. This is a different world, and we need to make harsh choices in order to survive. And Dale is also right in that we have to maintain our humanity in order. Just survival is not enough. No. And Shane recognized that in Dale. I knew that he could not pull the trigger because he doesn't have what it takes to do what needs to be done to survive.
Yes, if the roles were reversed, Dale would have been shot to the chest.
He would have been knee on the ground for sure.
But that doesn't happen. Instead, we go to commercial and we come back. Everyone's hanging on the farm, kind of lighthearted, just sort of like, hey, everything's okay now. But they're wondering where Rick is. And then Shane walks up, all the guns, and starts handing them out. Here you go, one for you. Everybody gets these. Maggie says Herschel will make them leave over this, and Shane offers a gun to Carl. Lori intervenes. I don't think Carl takes the gun. I don't think she doesn't let him. At this point, Rick and Herschel come out of the woods wrangling the zombies. Shane and everybody sprint over to them, and Shane starts freaking out, as we kind of could see coming. It was an awesome scene where Shane starts firing bullets into one of the zombies they're wrangling to prove that she isn't alive.
Yeah, how could you live through this?
Yeah, I put 5 shots in the zombie's chest.
In her heart, in her lungs. If she was alive and just sick, she wouldn't survive that.
No. And Rick starts screaming Shane enough. Shane breathes, walks up, shoots through the floor. So that was extremely cool. At this point, Shane has completely lost it. He's just screaming. He says that you have to fight to live, and he opens the barn, and zombies start coming out. Rick is screaming at Herschel to take the stick, but Herschel's just kind of lost the will to do anything. So Rick is stuck holding the zombie back, and he can't help everybody else who has stepped up with a gun, and they start firing, taking the zombies down as they're coming out of the barn.
Because at that point, they don't have any choice.
No, they don't have any choice. They could turn and run, but they're gonna have to do something about it. So there's walkers all over the place. And there's walkers all over the place. That's right. I'd say there were at least 20 on the barn. I didn't do a body count on the ground, but a quick. Well, when you see bodies on the ground, I think there's even more. But I'm not sure. So let's say 12 to 20. Still enough that they're causing a serious problem. So who steps up? We got Shane, Andrea, Daryl, T-Dog with a gun, Glenn eventually. That's right. Anyone else? At least 5 shooters. So we got 5 shooters. Rick, of course, and shooting because he's still holding on to the zombie. They can't let go of. So those odds are pretty good. 5 people in a firing line with only maybe 15 zombies coming out.
They do not know how to fight.
No, they just walk straight at you. And the doors were open enough, so they kind of came out one at a time. That's right, one or two at a time.
That's a perfect situation to take down a large number.
Exactly. It's you funnel them into a small area. That's right, and load them out.
That's like 300.
Right, 300. That's great.
Yeah, if you have enough soldiers to hold a choke point, you can hold off against a very, very large superior force.
That's right. Whether they're warriors like in 300 or zombies walking. That's right. So they take them all down. They think everything is all hunky dory, and they hear one more zombie coming. And it's a small zombie who steps out wearing a blue shirt. Nobody can believe what they see. And of course, it's Sophia as a zombie. We talked about this and we kind of predicted it last week.
Well, we had a number of different options.
We did. This was probably the most plausible, though.
Or finding her just sitting down. Hey, how you doing?
Well, that would have been rather anticlimactic. However, they also stand there looking at her, and Madison Lins, I gotta say, did a great job.
She did.
Acting as a zombie. There was a behind the scenes bit later on AMC's Talking Dead where they showed preparing stuff like that. It was interesting to see her taking some direction from the director on what to do, but kind of stealing zombie character. It was interesting. She did a great job. Anyway, no one can believe their eyes. They're like, holy crap, what do we do now? Most of them are probably looking at her thinking, well, we can't shoot her. What are we gonna do? But Rick steps up because at this point the zombie's been wrangling was shot, and he raises his weapon and shoots her in the head. Yep. Episode over. Quite a finish.
Very, very dramatic.
Very dramatic. I think it got a little dusty in this room when I was watching it, but very, very important scene.
Yeah, I was blown away by it. I even kind of expected it.
Well, that's the thing. I kind of knew what was going on, but you almost don't expect them to go there, right? Like I know we've seen Rick shoot little girl zombies before.
Yeah, that's the first thing we saw.
That's true, and that's the last thing here so far. But Rick 2, little girl zombie 0. That's the score so far. But the fact that this was a character that we knew and has we liked as a character, and she's been missing a long time. A lot of people probably believe in the back of their mind that they would find her, if not okay, at least alive, not a zombie.
That's what I was expecting. I was expecting her to walk out of the woods or for them to stumble across her somewhere. Like when Daryl and Carol and they walked out along the inside of the flower and he apologized. That's when I expected them to find her. Oh my God, there she is. Like, I was expecting that to happen in that scene.
Right. I can see that, but I also think that would be
it would be like that. Where the hell have you been?
Yeah, if you're like right here, you wouldn't hear us or go towards the farm.
I was swimming at the swimming hole for 3 days.
But anyway, so she's in there, and a lot of people sort of on the internet have complained that why wouldn't Herschel and everyone knows they're looking for a girl? Why wouldn't he say, we got a girl in the barn, especially after that knowledge became public. Right. Maybe that's her. Hopefully not. Maybe that's her. And the answer to that question that I learned from Robert Kirkman on AMC's Talking Dead last night is that Otis was the one to do the wrangling of zombies. Otis was killed before they ever spoke about the search for Sophia. Yep. And so they just genuinely didn't know that she was in there.
That makes perfect sense.
It does. And that's also why in the episode there was that line in Swamp where he told him Otis used to do this. It was his job. Now that it's gone, we have to do this. So it makes sense in that respect. But great scene, incredible ending, and from what we know of the second half of the season, it's going to pick up right where this leads off. We'll get into that later.
Shane's that wonderful character that you love to hate. Just hate that guy.
You do, but you can understand his point.
Oh yeah, he's perfect. His logic is sound. Yeah, like it makes perfect sense. He's off the deep end. He's making bad decisions, and he's turning into an evil guy. But evil people don't think they're doing wrong. So his logic is completely sound. He's not making crazy decisions. He's making good decisions based on bad rationale.
Based on being crazy. Yeah, exactly. The other great thing, there's two other things about this scene. One I noticed that when the zombies started coming out and they started shooting them, Herschel there was a few shots of him looking absolutely distressed. He looked like he lost all will to live or do anything. He almost kind of looked like a zombie. He just collapsed, had a blanket on his face. He watched his wife and stepson. He said who were in there, right? He watched them get shot and killed, I guess, again.
Yep. And
friends and family and neighbors. Yeah, exactly. He looked just absolutely distressed, totally distressed. The zombie who Kirkman did explain which one was his wife. And do you remember the zombie close to the end who got shot? You can see kind of her side of her face tear off.
That's what I figured it was.
That's Ursula's wife, apparently. Not anymore though.
Well, I mean, it hasn't been for a while, depending on your philosophy of zombies.
Yeah, of course. And then the final thing about the end here is that Rick Grimes is clearly now a changed man, right? This is the scene everyone has been waiting for him to become the Rick that we kind of expect.
I don't know about that. No one made these kind of decisions since early on.
Nobody else in this group could step up and do what he did there. It had to be him. It had to be him taking responsibility for his actions, making a choice, and doing what he had to do.
Well, it's because he doesn't get rattled. No matter what the situation, he does not get rattled. He remains rational. Even when Sophia went missing, he doesn't freak out and say, "We gotta leave her to hell here." He's not rattled. Shane's rattled. Well, true. And he's not rattled. He's thinking rationally. No, we're in a safe place. Why not continue to look for her? Everything's under control. Just relax. We can look for her. We're not in danger right here. We don't have to keep going until there's more danger here than we perceive elsewhere. Right now, elsewhere is more danger than right here. So he's calm, cool, collected. Everybody else, or Shane specifically, is a little rattled. He's freaking out. He's starting to do weird things. Where in this situation, everybody gets rattled except for Rick.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's the only one who can think straight in this situation. Even Shane's been thinking straight for a long time. Even Andrea, who's been a little bit up and down, but fairly level-headed throughout this, even when her sister was killed in season 1.
Yep.
And I guess Diog and Glenn were. Diog was kind of unimportant scene. He was just shooting. Glenn was there, but he couldn't do it. And of course, Daryl almost ran right up to her.
Yeah, she took off. Like, little girl.
You gotta think that Daryl could have taken the shot, but he had to tackle Carol from running.
He was busy.
He was busy.
Daryl, I think, could have taken the shot too. He didn't have a crossbow with him.
No, he had a shotgun.
Well, yeah, because Shane gave it to him. But yeah, he was busy. It's kind of hard to hold back a very, very upset mother when her zombie daughter is in front of him and fire a shotgun at the same time.
It's true. And not shoot yourself in the face.
I didn't Daryl could do that.
But I just think it was a really, really important scene for Rick. We've seen him question himself a lot, but here he was absolutely firm in his decision of what to do. And he even recognized, I think, that everyone's just standing around. Somebody's got to do something.
Okay, the zombie come towards us, folks.
She's not fast, she's little, but they're still dangerous.
Luckily, Shane turned around and shot the zombie. I was wrangling, so now I can go and deal with this.
Yeah, I can deal with this. So anyways, poor Sophia, she's gone, and we will probably talk about it a little bit more later in the program. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have listener feedback about this episode and some for past episodes, so stick around for that. Right now, I'll let you know that for you listeners of The Talking Dead, Audible is offering a free audio download, a free 14-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. Jason, what's your recommendation for the final this week?
I'm going to recommend a book I started listening to today, Hunting Eichmann by Neil Bestholm, narrated by Paul Hecht. It's a compelling account of the relentless hunt for the nefarious Adolf Eichmann. You know who Adolf Eichmann is?
No.
He, because of his organizational skills and reliability, Eichmann was charged with the task of managing the logistics of the mass deportation of the Jews to the extermination camps in Eastern Europe in World War II. So he was the one man completely responsible for the mass extermination of the Jews in World War II.
Or at least keeping it organized.
Yeah, and he escaped from
which
allies.
Not to neglect the situation. I didn't do that, but
he escaped from the allies, and this is about hunt to find him afterwards.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, I'll run time on that one.
12 hours, 36 minutes.
Very good. If you want to download your free audiobook, including this one or any other, today go to audibletrial.com/talkingdead. Once again, that's audibletrial.com/talkingdead for your free audiobook.
Listener feedback.
That means it's time for listener feedback. Quick note before we start. Just in case you're wondering, if you've written in and we didn't read it on the program, you call, we didn't use your call. It doesn't mean it's not because we don't love you. We certainly do, but not all the feedback we can get necessarily make it into the show, part of the timing, things like that. And I just want to make sure everyone's aware, so I won't feel bad.
Yeah.
And one of the things we're going to do during the hiatus between now and February is probably an all listener feedback show where we take some of the stuff that didn't make it into one of these shows, throw it out there, talk about it, see what else we can come up with during that. So if you don't hear your email or your call right away, you might hear that. Sure. Very good. So this first one comes from Monica on tonight's episode, pretty much, or last night's episode, pretty much already. Monica writes, as a viewer, when they begin killing walkers in the barn, that is the only way for this to end, with Sophia being the last walker and their roles reversed. Perfection. Herschel's emotions are reflected into the rest of the group, and at that moment, and Rick is the only one with the strength to do what needs to be done. I was starting to worry during the last couple of episodes that Rick was going soft. Darn, that Shane's getting in my head. Rick's character is amazing, strong, compassionate, understanding, strategic, wise. He's a little bit of everyone's best qualities. He does kind of encompass sort of a bit from all of them,
He does.
I would agree with that. I think it's an astute observation.
You can change a little bit.
Well, everyone has their crazy moments, right?
Well, I know I do.
Absolutely. Anthony writes an email on the episode. He said, I just finished watching the mid-season finale, and all I can say is, wow, that was truly exciting. Shane's rant and subsequent Left 4 Dead style dismantling of the zombie mob was epic, to say the least. I would agree. On that note, after the 4th or 5th zombie, it was all clear that Sophia was going to be the last one to emerge from the barn. All that speed and adrenaline had to have a screeching halt moment, and she was it. Also, a good observation, I think. We have high and low, right? Contrasting beside each other. Truly sad and unexpected up until then, as I was originally expecting her to come walking up from out of nowhere or come running from the tree line with another half dozen walkers in pursuit. All in all, perfect way to end the first half. So,
at what point did you realize that it would be Sophia in the barn?
during our podcast last week.
Even you were conscious of that during the episode, and when the zombies started pouring out of the barn, they started dispatching them. You were still conscious of the fact that it would be easy to come out of there.
Well, I can't answer that honestly because this episode was screened for critics, right? So a lot of information made its way onto the internet, and I kind of knew how it ended before I was watching it.
Right, but and you were still aware of that when you were watching. Because I also knew that, but when I was watching the episode, my conscious awareness of what's going on outside of the show,
your TV distortion field,
and I was laser focused on it. I was enjoying it so much that even when the defeat came out, and she forgot, oh my god, it's a kid, oh my god, and then it was Sophia, and it was actually a real moment for me.
Well, that's good. No, it was in the back of my mind the whole time. I will say that I didn't know how it was going to play out. I wasn't looking at the clock, so I didn't know that we're getting to the end here when he Shane flips out and opens the barn door. So I wasn't sure if this was right at the end of the episode, so I didn't know that. But I did know that the episode ends with Rick shooting somebody point blank that they know. Right? So I suppose it could have been Merle in there. It could have been Morgan or Dwayne. I haven't seen them in a while. But I also knew that they needed to wrap up the Sophia storyline, which, just for the record, despite all our complaining about how long it went on, they paid it off.
Yeah, it was paid off.
It was. And the explanation of her being in there the whole time and then not knowing because Otis was dead, it really worked for me.
Yeah, it's very, very nicely wrapped up. That email that just came from Anthony. I like the way he put that their emotions mirrored Herschel's. Right? Because Herschel, the reason he put her in the barn because they're friends, they're family. Yes. They're people that he knows that went to that barn, and all of a sudden one comes out that they know. That's right. And he'll deal with that sucker.
During this behind the scenes thing that I watched during AMC's Talking Dead, they had Nick Carroll on as well, and he said that they had written up a concept for the scene where Sophia comes walking out of the barn, not as a zombie. Like she is a zombie, but we see the perspective of all the characters, and they look at her and think that's Sophia. She's not a zombie. We finally found her. That's amazing. And so they're gonna deal with it that way. I don't know how it would play out. Maybe somebody realizes, wait a minute, how would she be in there with a zombie and not be dead? But I think that's an interesting. That would have been a very interesting way to sort of do the scene. It would have hammered that home even more. Having people see her as still alive.
I think that plays on paper, but it doesn't play visually.
You're right. A lot of viewers might be confused by it.
Yeah, and the show has not been very ethereal in that, or it's very realistic in the way it's portraying everything. Right? So having something be a mass hallucination sort of thing hasn't really played into the show at all. It's never been set up that way, where people see one thing but it's another.
Well, we only get individual hallucinations like helicopters.
If it was a hallucination, right? I think it was a real helicopter.
It might have been. We will find out.
Off on the aircraft carrier.
Oh yeah, just doing a reconnaissance mission to see.
Yeah, the military got the aircraft carriers. They got to get there. Zombie free. I'm sure. Space station. People in the space station.
I'm sure they're probably going to help too much, but you're right. They're shit to see what else all went down. They might still be guessing. Okay, Brian from Cincinnati wrote an email in regarding the walker in the pharmacy. Now Brian sent in a few emails, so I just chose this one. Maybe some of the others will get into our all this feedback episode. Ryan writes, come on, dude, the walker was not just hanging out in there the entire time. Use your head. He had to have found his way in there. We know walkers can open doors from previous episodes, like Morgan's wife having to open the door. Maybe the walker was a pharmacist and was returning to work. Gotcha. Not only can they open doors, at least try to, they have residual memories of their former life. Maybe he was a pharmacist.
Okay, no, okay, I'll take that. Sure, absolutely. If he was a pharmacist and he knew how to open the doors, they do have residual memory. So sure, he went in, he shut the door, and they went back and started preparing stuff for his day.
Hey man, if we have an RV inspector, we can certainly have a pharmacist.
That's true. That's true. No, I'll take that. Yeah.
Alrighty, James from Maine writes in regarding firebombing and bodies on the highway. James says, I'd rather think that instead of firebombing Atlanta to get rid of zombies, they should have used anti-personnel ordnance, i.e. daisy cutters, which is a shower of small bomblets, which individually will seriously damage zombies or infantry, but not damage buildings that much. Oh, that's what they should have done. He said the puzzle of the dead people in cars on the highway pilot is mystifying. No, they weren't burned, they weren't bitten, eaten, or killed, or frightened away by zombies. Some of them died in car accidents, but a lot are just sitting in their cars with no apparent cause of death. The other possibility, which we have not seen much of yet, is that they were killed by humans. The other chief danger after after zombies in the New World Order. Maybe they were killed by humans. I can't speculate on for what purpose, but who knows? People do some crazy stuff when
They
zombies.
sure do.
Interesting point. I don't know that we will ever get back there and find out more about that scene. It might be just one of those things we've got to leave in the past and move on from.
I think we have to move on.
All right, very good. In that case, let's move on to our last email from Leanne. Also on the bodies on the highway and infection versus biting. You mentioned in your last podcast, bodies on the highway didn't turn. If you think back to the comic, perhaps these people weren't infected like Rick and Lori and everyone may or may not be at this point in time. The show has not explored this yet, but obviously in the comics, but still not infect. Not that these people were bitten, but died either by choice, riots, etc. Maybe at the hands of other people. If Rick was immune, the transfusion could have given Carl immunity. When the CDC guy said nothing we don't know already, we could have met the CDC, and that one of however many people showed signs of immunity just thought, or he could have said everyone's infected by kill. Ultimately, that's the end of quote. Ultimately, I think that we don't really know the full extent of how this virus, if even this one works, and who is infected, or if it's even infection, or the zombies caused by radiation from space. I have no idea.
Like, if you think Jenner said that you're immune, or 1 in 10 people are immune, Rick would just say that. Some people are immune, so we're gonna get through this. If you get bitten, don't panic. You could be immune. Cross your fingers. Hope to die.
Maybe hope not to die. But yeah, we don't really know what's going on. We don't know the rules necessarily of the zombie, how it works, what causes it, where it comes from, what makes you turn or not. So right? Maybe we'll find out as the show goes on. Maybe not.
Maybe he said Godzilla is real. He'll come and help.
Godzilla is real. You think these zombies are bad?
Yeah, we know Godzilla gets here. And he's fighting Godzilla. And you're in trouble.
And Mothra, be careful. Don't go near any high resistance. All right, that's it for listener feedback. Like I said, we'll do all listener feedback episode during the hiatus. Maybe even next week. I don't know. We'll figure out what our schedule is. So by all means, please keep sending those emails, phone calls, and whatnot, because I'll make it onto a show eventually.
Holy crap. Did you see that?
All right, we've got some good holy crap did you see that moments today. Dave called in again with his, so let's play that to start.
Gentlemen, how are you? It's Dave calling. I realize I missed my call last week. So I hope that you two will be able to find it in your hearts to forgive me, but I'm calling you now, and I'm going to talk to you about my holy crap, did you see that moment? And it's the one moment that I think everybody's talking about right at the end. But I think what's important for me is that it was the moment that I decided to let go of the comics and let the TV show be its own universe. And it's no more apparent anywhere than it is right in those last few seconds of the TV show. And I think we need to let the comics be in their universe and let the TV show be in its own universe and stop sitting there expecting the TV show to mimic the events in the comics. It'll be nice to just sort of let the TV show go where it's going to go and be what's going to be and stop asking when this person's going to show up and what's going to happen to this person. And just really enjoy the ride because that's the game changer right there. And that was my holy crap, did you see that moment? Ready to roll on? I'm going to at home in my car in the parking lot. Anyway, guys, have a good night. Bye.
All right, so I'd like to give Dave the prize for one of the best points ever made.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a perfect point. And I like the fact that he gives context. Here he is. And when he's following, just go home, see in the car, in the parking lot.
Just before you drive on, that's right. Yeah, this is a really, really good point. I mean, up until now, everybody has been, and not at fault, but comparing the show to the comics. As we get deeper into the TV show, we should probably stop doing that so much. Because they are their own entities, and the TV show is going to relate less and less to the comic as it goes on, I think.
I agree. It was a perfect point. It was absolutely right.
And it's the perfect moment to get that feeling too. I mean, it didn't occur to me, but when Rick Steps does that, everything that's happened so far that differs from the comic, aside, we've suddenly shot Sophia in the head and moved on from there. She survives longer in the comics, and that's all I'll say about that. Sure does. Travis from Texas wrote in. He says, "My holy crap, did you see that moment? Is the walker that went dispatches in the pharmacy. The way it looked and moved after it got up the second time was awesome. This episode gave us plenty of zombie headshot kills, but they gave us one that was really unique and distinct. I believe it may tie the teabag walker as the most impressive of this half of the season." Travis, also in Texas. Travis is, of course, talking about the episode before. Eric from Indiana writes and says, "My holy crap, did you see that moment this week would be when Andrew finally got the hang of popping caps and walkers, and they do the slow-mo turn. It was I was waiting for a flock of white pigeons to fly by in the background. Pretty bad moment. The pigeons loose. That's right. That's one of the birds out. Very cool one. Samantha, who didn't give her location, says, I want to send you two holy crap, did you see that moments I had during last night's episode. They were both in the same scene. The first being when Glenn asked Maggie for permission to shoot the walkers. That was cool. As they were coming out of the barn, he does say, Maggie, I gotta do something, and she says do it. The second was when Sophia came out of the barn as a zombie. I was expecting it to be Otis or maybe even Merle. But as soon as I saw those little shoes, I knew who it was and was very shocked. Yeah. I think probably a lot of the TV watching audience was holy crap, did you see that? Right at that moment. All right. Before why don't you do your holy crap, did you see that moment next, Jason? What do you got for us?
Well, we touched on it, but when I was watching this the first time, what I saw was Herschel's wife got it in the face. A shotgun blast to the face, and actually took part of her mouth off. Yep. And at that point, I knew I was Herschel's wife. That's
you didn't really need anyone to tell you that for sure because we saw shots of her in the barn too a couple times throughout the episode. You're right.
At that point, I knew it was just the effect of being shot and part of her face blown off. It was pretty cool.
It was gruesome and cool and not so fun for Herschel. Sure. Oh yeah. Did you notice too that during the scene I forgot to mention before there was some body shots?
There were body shots. Yes, people were getting in the shoulder and the chest, but they were all eventually dispatched via the head.
They were. Shane didn't make any body shots. That man's master marksman. I'm sure T-Dog and Glenn and those guys were firing in shoulders and chests and stuff like that.
Well, this is the first time they've all en masse have used firearms.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I have my moment that I would classify as holy crap. Did you see that? So when Sophia comes out, she sort of slowly makes her way through the horses. She's approaching Rick, or approaching Shane in the line, and Rick steps up and standing in front of her, and we get a shot from Rick's perspective straight on towards Sophia. And if you go back and watch the shot of Sophia, at least it was me, but I perceived it changing a little bit. And so looking at it from Rick's perspective, I thought they were actually trying to show us a sort of change in Rick's attitude. At first, the shot seemed a little out of focus, a little bit off for some reason, and then it comes into focus, and he shoots her. I think we might have been seeing, at least what I think, we might have been seeing Rick's transformation in himself, looking at her, realizing who it is and what he's about to do, and suddenly he sees things clearly. Interesting. Yeah, I thought it was a really neat shot. I could make this all in my mind, but if I suggest you go back and look, I definitely think there's something different about that shot that we're looking at from Rick's perspective, and it kind of changes as we're looking at it.
So, holy crap, did you see that? And the answer is no. No, I did not see that.
That could be the answer.
I'm afraid no.
But I'm just saying, I saw that. Okay,
holy crap, I just saw something.
Holy crap, I saw something. Okay, we're gonna wrap things up now. If you want to stick around after the end, we do have a quick spoilery segment next time on The Walking Dead. I can't say next week on The Walking Dead. I guess it's next year. Kind of a bummer. But if you would like to contact us, you can do so at our toll-free Zom line at 1-866-483-ZOMB. Find us on Twitter at Talking Dead or Facebook.com/The Talking Dead. Fair number of posts there last night that were confusing us for AMC's Talking Dead, so appreciate everyone posting there. Those messages are not going to get to AMC. I apologize, nothing to do about that. And of course, you can email us at talkingdeadpodcast@gmail.com. So if you want to stick around for spoilers, do so. Otherwise, my name's Chris.
My name's Jason.
And for The Talking Dead, thanks for listening. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with something. I don't know.
Bye.
Next week on The Walking Dead.
Jason, tell us what's happening next week on The Walking Dead.
Well, next time on The Walking Dead, we have an episode called Nebraska, and I don't have any, I couldn't find a description other than Rick and Shane getting into it.
Yeah, I guess they're going to get
They're going to do it. Written by Evan Riley and directed by Clark Johnson.
Clark Johnson. These are two people we haven't seen, I don't think, working on The Walking Dead TV show before. And this puts us into the post-Frank Darabont era, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe it does.
So it should be interesting to see what happens. We do have the next week on The Walking Dead audio clip.
That'd be nice. How about that? Sure.
AMC's The Walking Dead continues with new episodes this February.
Can't find him anywhere. Go after him. He's okay. We're gonna have to stop that. He's dangerous. What do you say? What do you do? Please can't say. Oh, don't tell me I get my hands dirty. Back off. No one else gets hurt. He's not getting well. There is no hope for any of us. The Walking Dead returns this February.
There's no hope for any of us, Jason.
I think Herschel might put it on his mouth.
Well, that'd be something. Yeah, that'd be something. There were two other exclusive clips that are out there somewhere, which I don't have the audio for, but one of them is, I forget if this is the one played during Hell on Wheels, it might have been, but you see a group coming back to the farm right after what happened at the barn, and Shane is sort of talking about, how could they not tell us she was in there, why were they letting us look around it for days and not say anything about that, and we get further explanation there that Otis was the one who would have known, and they didn't have to ask.
Right, well, I also didn't watch Talking Dead where they explain the whole thing.
I guess so, yeah. Explain everything there.
Read the script, man.
There was another clip too that showed some other scenes, including a scene where Herschel is telling them they have to leave, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was, I think it was pretty beginning. No, that was the beginning of the clip that where Rick and Shane get into it.
Right, it's a little longer than this one, yeah, a minute longer, so it's just a longer trailer. But yeah, it seems like we picked things up in the episode 8 called Nebraska right where we left off here.
Which is typical for AMC.
And also. So it's just a longer trailer. But yeah, it seems like we picked things up in the episode 8 called Nebraska right where we left off here.
Which is typical for AMC.
And typical for the show for sure, yeah. Things, not a lot of time passes very quickly, that's for sure.
So Nebraska, if you're going to Nebraska, well, somebody named Nebraska.
I was thinking about this too. When I found out that was the title, that's the only title we know so far for the second group of episodes. I looked at Nebraska on the map. It's right smack dab in the middle of the U.S., nowhere near Georgia. So it's pretty far. I can't see them heading to Nebraska.
I was just going to look that up. So we got Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Kansas, Colorado, Utah, Kansas, there's right up there.
Yeah, exactly. It's right in the middle there. So it's a pretty good hike from Georgia. I don't see it going there. Maybe they're going to meet someone named Nebraska, like it reminded me of Zombieland, where they just went by their hometown names. That's right. Maybe that's what we're getting here. I don't know. Could be anything.
Yeah,
could be anything. We don't know. It'd be interesting when we find the rest of the episode titles for after the highest.
So it's like episode title TS19. What the heck does that mean?
That's subject 19.
Well, it makes sense now.
It sure does.
So after the end of February, Nebraska's going to make perfect sense.
I think when TS19 first came out, we speculated that it was like trauma service.
Test Center 19 because we didn't realize it's Center of the C and on S.
Trauma Center, I think we were.
Or Testing Center or Trauma Center. Anyway,
I can't believe
they're
it.
bringing up again. Thank you for that. Just pointing out how big abilities we really are.
Well, anyone who listens to this, I don't think really is questioning that at all.
It's not a surprise.
There you go. Okay, so The Walking Dead will be back February 12th. All right, I'll remember when we're closer to the day.
Just in time for Valentine's Day.
There you go. Maybe it'll be a Nebraska Valentine's Day.
That's right. Happy Valentine's Day, Mr. Dead Zombie.
Mr. Zombie. All right,